Welcome back to Mr. Caro Plays FM23. Now, today we are going to look at a different topic, and this topic is star ratings. Now, it is worth pointing out that it is very easy to get misled by those star ratings. You look at my screen there, you see that actually we've got a pretty high star ratings in there. However, it is worth knowing that actually if you look closely, there are players I could put in there that potentially have higher star ratings than others. And like I say, this is because and purely because star ratings aren't always what they seem. Now, if we pick out an example of this young defender and we look at his star rating, he is, as it would appear, destined to be the best player in the world if you go by his star ratings. Now, it is worth then noting that we are in the third division of Germany. If we were in the first division of Germany, he would not be 5-star rating. He may still have a really good potential, but his current ability, according to the coach, would not be as high. And this is because this is reflective of your current situation. If you were to suddenly get promoted or suddenly get relegated, those ratings of players would decrease or increase depending on where you are. And that's because that isn't the best and the only, or not say the best may be a wrong way of putting it, but it isn't the only way of judging a player's ability. Now, as you can see, interestingly enough, this does reflect some elements of this. You know, this guy's star rating is, 4.5 stars in there. But if you look closely at his ability in specific areas, maybe crossing only a 7, most of his stats are one that would dictate that he would be a world beater. But however, even in this league, he still has some discrepancies in his talent or his current stats, which in my personal opinion would not make him a 5-star or a 4.5-star player. And like I say, or 3.5-star player, sorry. But you've got to point, the way to think about it in real terms is this is a reflection of what someone's opinion is. And this opinion is of your coach. Now, interestingly, if you go to your coaching, and there's ways of changing this, but the way that I would look at it is go to your responsibilities, go to your, I think it's trade reports and active and reports. There we go. And you're looking for provide player reports. Now, if you look at who provided my player reports in this team, it is your assistant coach. Now, if you look interestingly down there, there are several players or coaches or positions within your team in terms of staff that could, in theory, take this responsibility. Now, my opinion, my sort of way of doing this would always be, and haven't necessarily done it with this team, is to go into your coaching staff, look down your list, and try and find the one that has the best judging of player ability. Now, if we go at this guy, he's actually got a real poor judging of player ability. Now, I will admit, even on the person telling you to do this advice, when I tend to start a team, I don't worry about the staff specifically. So this guy's already got a better. He's got 10 and 12, still poor. And if we scroll down, and like I say, sometimes you can find that actually you can find some really surprising people in there. Maybe your goalkeeper coach may have better responsibility. Now, but what we learned from that is actually, I think it was our head of youth development that actually had a star ability in terms of judging of player ability. And we'll go back to our assistant coach again. Yeah, he does. So in that sense, we're now going to go back to our responsibilities. We're going to go to our active advice and reports. We're going to go to our player reports. And we're going to select our head of youth development. Now, interestingly here, the reason why this is now interesting is it would be interesting to see if he has downgraded any of his opinion. Now, you may not see that because, like I say, it's an opinion. You can see in here, it's now him telling that in there instead of the other person. Actually, he's actually made him even higher rating, if you like, than actually there could be. So, yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at it. Like I say, you can get, and if we go to our stats again, you can get unusual results within here, if you like. You can get players who are really rated really badly, who are then suddenly world beaters. You can also get players where the star rating suddenly changes, like Mo Leitner's a great example of this. A couple of games ago, he was only a 3-star player. Now, because he's had a couple of really strong games, he is back up. You can see that his form has really peaked. He's back up to 4.5 or 3.5 stars. So you can see there's a general kind of change within that, and it is just an opinion. Now, this is not to say you can't take this opinion for granted. You can't add some value to this. This is another great example of this guy. He's down to 2 stars. He's actually scored 6 goals this season, which is a pretty good turnout from the amount of games he's played, especially when you consider 13 off the bench. Is he a 2-star player in this league? I would argue he's not. I mean, he's got 13 for finishing. He's got 13 for acceleration and 14 for pace. He's not going to be, He's not going to be the best player in the league by any stretch of imagination, but is he a 2-star player in this league? I would doubt that from the results that he has had. Obviously, there are some inconsistencies, and if you look at his form and his average rating in there, it's not necessarily into the 7th, but nevertheless, he has had a good turnout from goals. So I have noticed this, especially with strikers. Strikers are a great example of this, especially older strikers or especially strikers from lower leagues. Now, it's always worth pointing out, if you've got someone who is scoring goals, then they are going to be much better positioned than someone who hasn't scored any goals. You could have a 5-star striker, unlikely that you're going to see that, but you could have a 5-star striker, but if he has got no goals the previous season, who would you rather have? I'd rather have a 2.5-star, 2.5, 3-star striker who is a goal scorer, who's got 15 goals from the lower league, maybe one lower than the league that you're in, because he is showing consistency. Now, obviously, you're going to have a drop-off when you upgrade a player into a league, but still, if they know where the goal is, they will probably find it. And that's why, when you get promoted into other leagues, don't just look to just sell over your players. Now, you can upgrade. There's no reason why not. There is no reason why you can't upgrade your team when you get promoted. But there's worth remembering, let's not just drop every single player, because like I say, those star ratings are not reflective of real life. And on that point, I'm going to leave this video here. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. Hit that notification button, see when the videos are released. Thank you and goodbye.